Today we're going to talk about men's mental health. Yes, this is a topic that comes and goes as quick as the weather in England changes. And if you take your mind back to June or May or whenever it was, I think there was a men's mental health awareness week. Everybody jumped on a bandwagon and posted something to do with mental health and how we have to look out for men and some stuff about making sure it's okay that you can talk to me for help. And the next day followed and it was all forgotten. So this is a video for the men. Yes, ladies, I'm sure I will probably create a video for you too, but this is specifically for the men and your mental health. Today I'm going to speak to you about ways in which you probably have never been told and an opportunity for you to do that very thing and work on your mental health. When was the last time you gave yourself an hour in your day, in your week, in a month, in a year, to come out to a park, sit in the quiet, get yourself a coffee, and think about what you want from your life? I think a big part of men's mental health, and the reason why men struggle so much, is because you're constantly trying to live up to society's standards. I got taught from a very early age that you have to be your own individual, you have to think your own way, and you have to make your own mistakes. And I think that the pressure for men nowadays is quite heavy in the respects of what type of car you got to drive, what type of life you have to live, the amount of money in your bank, the way that you look, the house that you live in and the clothes that you wear. I think there's a lot of pressure on men to feel like they have to be the man, and maybe doing things like coming out to a park to give yourself a chance to think about the way that you want to be and the things that you're trying to achieve, or just to have some time in your life where you're doing nothing. You know, I've come out today, I'm sitting in the middle of the park, I've got a coffee, it's beautiful sunshine. I'm not really doing anything too much, to be fair. I'm just sitting thinking about how fortunate I am to be here, grateful for everything that I've got, and thankful that I managed to overcome everything in my past. There's no real purpose to today. It's just a chance for me to come out and be on my own. And I think that a lot of men struggle with being on their own. I think, especially coming from a dad who's always been honest with me in terms of being able to cry, being able to be emotional, being able to talk and interact with people emotionally on an emotional level. I feel like that's what most men lack. And I think that in order to be a better individual, in order to be a better man, better husband, better boyfriend, better son, better sibling, but just to be a better person for yourself, a big part of that is being able to be okay on your own and understanding that progress and development and trying to be the best individual that can be doesn't mean just going to the gym and smashing loads of heavy weight and posting some photos on social media to make yourself feel good in the short term. It actually means, are you able to spend time on your own with your own thoughts and pick apart the things that you don't like and pick apart the things that may be troubling you and come up with ways and ideas of being able to move yourself in the right direction. And yes, I have built myself a business over the last decade and a half that allows me to come out during the day and sit in a park whilst the sun's shining, drinking a coffee, talking to you on camera about how to improve your mental health. So it's not like I'm sitting here with no illusions that most men have to go out and provide for their families. And if they don't have a wife, girlfriend or children, are working hard to try and meet society standards. But what I need a lot of you to realise is that I too, once upon a time, worked in a corporate environment and was caught up in the rat race, as well as being caught up in the pressures of society and trying to live a lifestyle that I couldn't really maintain. And in doing so, chasing money and the flash lifestyle did lead to my mental health taking an absolute battering in the process. Which is why I'm sat here today talking to you in a park, drinking a coffee in the sunshine. But what I'm trying to get to is that a lot of you men out there really have to understand that giving yourself the time to sit on your own and reflect on your life, reflect on the good, reflect on the bad, figure out ways of how you're going to improve your life and deal with the pressures and the stresses and come up with some sort of solution to those issues is what is going to enable you to help improve your mental health. And just like me, I've gone through my own battles and I've had to deal with my own things in life. But the crucial thing that I've done, despite it all, is always allow myself time to sit and think about my life. And so that is what I want a lot of you to think about. Don't have to be in the park, might be at home, but you've got to create time for yourself to think about yourself. A big part of the reason why a lot of men's mental health is suffering is because you're not spending enough time looking after your mental health. I'll be completely honest. That's all I've ever really done in my life. Not being afraid to voice my opinion, not be afraid to make mistakes, not be afraid to go on my own path and learn, not be afraid to go out there and ask for help. But more importantly is just being okay with accepting myself for who I am as a man, because we don't have to live up to society standards. You don't have to live up to society standards. And it is okay being who you are. It's just understanding that your mental health is probably the only thing you understand. And if you don't give yourself a chance in a day, in a week, in a month, to sit down with your own thoughts and think about it in a way that is productive and positive and enables you to remove distractions and get rid of the noise of whether it be social media or family or friends or whatever, if you're not able to do that, it's going to make it very difficult for you to improve your mental health and develop your own ideas and think about things that you want to achieve in your life and goals that you may set for yourself. But ultimately, because you've got to understand that you're the only person that lives with your thoughts. It doesn't really matter what anyone else says or what anyone else thinks. It's only going to be you in your own brain. And, you know, it's cliche, but you are what you think. And I think a lot of men these days are very negative, are very down, are very low in self-esteem, simply because they're not able to sit and communicate with themselves away from everybody else. So one very good way of working on your mental health and improving yourself for yourself is being able to come and spend time by yourself. You've got to stop saying yes to everybody. I think a big thing for guys is they feel like they have to impress people, mostly their friends or the opposite sex, or the same sex. But most importantly, it's impressing people and feeling like you always have to say yes and have the pressure to deliver or have the pressure to live up to somebody else's expectation. I let go people's expectations of me a very long time ago. And I think that as a man, the world, again, puts this pressure on us to be a certain way, drive a certain car, live in a nice house, wear nice clothes, and have a certain amount of money in the bank. And I think that, sure, as much as all those things are nice to have, you can spend a lot of your time working out how to achieve all those things, being comfortable with who you are. I spent 10 years in the city chasing a lifestyle that wasn't suited to the way that I am. And it took me 10 years to realise that I was actually driving myself into a ditch. And that's partly the reason why I'm sat here today speaking to you in a park in the sunshine, living my life on my own time, is because I realised that for a long time I was trying to live up to my friends' expectations, girlfriends' expectations, parents' expectations, the workplace's expectations, and generally society's expectations of what I should and shouldn't be. And I think that once you understand that as a man, you have the opportunity to do positive, do right by yourself and move in a direction and move at a speed that is more suited to the way that you work, I think more men will start to realise that there are no expectations and being validated by people around us doesn't really matter. I think if as a man you are struggling with your mental health and 1 minute you're high and the next minute you're low, or you're confused and you're not sure where your place is in the world, I think being able to create the opportunity for yourself and give yourself the time to sit on your own with your own thoughts and work out a way in which you can start creating a better sense of self and a better mindset will stand you in good stead in the long term. I know the world now is very short term and instantly gratifying, but I think that a big part of mental health is being able to understand that it is a long game and that it does take daily efforts and it does take daily sacrifices to remove the distractions of the world that we live in if trying to improve your mental health is really what you're trying to do. Because failing that, the expectations of society will lead you into a ditch very fast. And once upon a time, that ditch was very shallow, but the way that the world is now is very shallow, and that ditch is very deep now. And if you do find yourself in that ditch, it's very difficult to claw your way out of unless you are doing the things that are going to enable you to, once you're out of that ditch, keep you out of that ditch. And I would like to be able to be the role model and the example for you sat here, because my life has not been the easiest. I've been through an awful lot, and up until 2 months ago, life was full on. I had a lot going on. And it's only now that I really catch myself in a period of stability at 37 that I realised that going through all of the stuff that I went through and not losing my mental health or not losing my sanity in that process was in part largely down to the fact that I believed in who I am, and mainly because my personality is very strong to the point that it would almost be impossible for anybody to hold me down or tell me that I can't achieve anything. And for those of you that know me personally, you'll know I am very driven and ambitious, and there isn't much that if I put my mind to it I can't achieve. But for those of you that maybe didn't have those support systems or people in your life early on in your life, I hope that maybe I can show you as a 37-year-old man, I am against the grain. I don't fit the stereotype. The way that I look, the way that I sound, my persona doesn't typically fit the society that I live in. But ultimately, I don't really care. At the end of the day, I'm doing enough of the right things that are putting me in the place that make me feel better. And I want this video to be something that you can understand and something that you can look up to and something that you can maybe use as motivation for you to start doing your own thing and moving in your own way. And maybe, just maybe, this can be the start of something that makes you feel better and helps your mental health. Away from all of the macho bullshit, away from all of the Instagram, social media, away from all of the feeling like you have to be a millionaire in today's day and age. And I want you to understand that the most valuable thing that you will ever have in your life is what is between your two ears. And if that is not working for you, it's increasingly difficult to love who you are as a man. And that's what I feel like a lot of men are missing, is the love that they have for themselves. And I hope that you realise that you are worthy. And if you put in the time and you put in the effort and you create time for yourself in your life, you can start working on being a better individual.